Look, we might got a gem on our hands with Johnny Wilson. It might be a problem. Jordan Davis wreaking havoc, and Jalen Thompson making plays. We're about to talk about all that. I'm Wesley. You're watching Beast on Broad Street.
Yeah, reporting live from the underworld, coming from a place that's never been unearthed. How much is your soul? Tell me what it's worth. Do you put your pride or money first?
All right, so with day 8 officially wrapped up and in the books, I want to get into it. So first and foremost, Jason Kelce was in the building. This is important. It's just a nice way to start off practice, nice veteran presence that these younger offensive linemen can go to, not named Lane Johnson, but, another first ballot Hall of Famer in Jason Kelce. So just good to have him around. He's got the keys to the facility. He's welcome anytime and all the time. So, just aside from having someone to go to, it just keeps the morale high for practice. So it's just good to hear. Also, before practice even started, we got ourselves a new linebacker, nothing splashy. We signed Shaquille Quarterman, who was with us through minicamp. Again, not a splashy signing, no one who's going to take over like first string linebacker, none of that. Most likely just be a practice squad guy, or he does have special teams experience. There's this cool highlight I saw of him forcing a fumble on Derrick Henry. But again, he's not a world beater by any means, but just good to have another linebacker in camp. Let's go over the injury update. So who didn't practice today? We got Orem Burks. He's still out with his knee. Paris Campbell, unfortunately, is still out. He's got that groin injury that he's still dealing with. Mekhi Gardner has a hamstring, dealing with that as well. And Brandon Smith is out with a concussion. So, at injury update, Paris Campbell still, he plays a role in this practice, this one in particular, because Johnny Wilson is disgusting, apparently, in the red zone. He's just been a problem in the red zone. And that's big news because with Paris Campbell out, who to me, and I'm sure to a lot of people, is a front runner for that wide receiver 3 position. So with him out, allows these other guys to get reps in practice and in training camp, Johnny Wilson being one of them. And man, is he thriving. Like, dude is thriving like crazy, man. Like, he's a problem in the red zone. He's 6'6", first and foremost, so he's already a hard cover. Anyone 6'6" are in athletic is already a hard cover, especially in the red zone. But for him to also be able to adjust his body when the ball goes up in the air, and just having hands might be a little important to being a receiver. It's nice to have someone who's also like, look, I know we got Paris Campbell and John Ross, but it's just nice to have someone who's also like, look, I'm here too. I'm in the mix, making his presence known. Okay, so let's talk about that. All right, so Johnny Wilson, today, and we'll just today, right? So he caught a back shoulder catch from Jalen Hurts, and this is with Ringo in coverage, Keely Ringo in coverage. Now, that in itself, that's a big play. So back shoulder, that if anyone who knows football, plays football, that back shoulder fade is crucial. Is crucial, not just to those 9 routes down the sidelines, cornerback tighten coverage. You got to hit that back shoulder. It's big, not just for a quarterback to make those throws, which we know Jalen's making those throws, especially this camp. He's been more accurate than ever. But it's just good to have a big body, 6'6" dude you throwing back shoulder phase to in the red zone. That back shoulder throw is crucial when it comes to red zone, especially when you got a receiver that big. So Johnny Wilson, not just today, but in these past few practices, he's really making his presence known. He, especially the last practice, I believe, he's just been a problem in the red zone, man. Just the hype is that he's trending up. The hype is real right now for Johnny Wilson, and I'm here for it. All right. So Paris Campbell is going to be out again. You guys are going to get hurt. It's not like it's Paris Campbell's fault that he's hurt. Okay. But just with him out, it's just nice to have a dude step up and like, look, my time to shine now. All right. So not that he hasn't been shining with Paris Campbell in as well, but he's going to get more reps, especially this practice. So apparently he's been not only just getting reps in the red zone, but today he was working with first team offense. He was getting reps in that wide receiver 3 position. He's making good plays, one-on-ones. He's showing flashes, quickness, speed, which is rare in a guy that big. But if you're going to be an NFL wide receiver, no matter how tall you are, you got to be able to be quick. You got to be able to run these routes. You can't be a statue by any means. So just nice that we have a guy right now who's like really competing for that starting spot. Definitely could be a factor along with and I know it's kind of a stretch, but Brayden Covey is in the mix right now. Brayden Covey's in the mix. We talked about this in the last video. Brayden Covey's a guy who, whether it be situational, because say Johnny Wilson's not between the 20s, between the 20-yard line type receiver 3, Brayden Covey might be that guy. So will Paris Campbell, but like I said, we need depth there. We need other guys. It's like, yeah, we have AJ and Devontae, which we could not be more thankful for and grateful for, but we still need guys just in case, knock on wood, someone goes down, maybe someone's just not playing up to par. We need other guys to go to, all right? Just realistically speaking, yeah, we got Dallas Goedert, yeah, we have Devontae, yeah, we got AJ, but this is, while I'm not gonna sit here and be worried about who's our wide receiver, like our wide receiver 3, we need a wide receiver, like we'll function. Offense is gonna be all right. Offense is gonna be all right, no matter really who's in that position. We don't want to scrub, right? Because we all know we saw what happened. We saw what happened with We saw what happened. Jeez, I already forgot dude's name. Quez Watkins. We saw what happened there. He dude had all the speed in the world. He had the tools to be an NFL receiver and a successful one at that. But what happens, man? You can't hold on to that ball, especially in crucial situations when we really need you to hold on to the ball. You're the open guy. You're getting the ball thrown to you. You better catch it, because opportunities are not high or they're not going to be high for any other wide receiver, not named A.J. Brown, not named Devontae Smith. You're not going to have a lot of opportunities. You better hang on to that ball, man. Whoever is our wide receiver 3, you better be ready, right? And it's just good we have options right now. Maybe they're not flashy options, not the best options in the league, but hey, we right now don't even know what we have in Johnny Wilson being a rookie. Paris Campbell is no scrub, all right? And Brayden Covey's making himself be known, man. He's making himself be known as I'm not just a punt returner. I'm not just a kick returner, all right? Like, I'm trying to be involved in the offense, which clearly the coaches appreciate because they're throwing him in there too in the mix. So as far as receiver 3 goes, that's probably right now no, it's not the most important position battle that's going on. It might be one of the most intriguing, just because the redemption stories, as in John Ross, Paris Campbell, redemption stories. We got rookies, Anais Smith, who has not shown up, but I'm pulling for him. I know you're pulling for him. You cannot be if you're an Eagles fan. He's a rookie, so he has upside. So you want to see him perform. Again, Johnny Wilson, rookie. So it's fun to watch. It's interesting to watch. Brayden Covey, I love this dude's attitude. Just a positive guy who has quickness, can really be like, he has that burst, which is why we see him, last season returning punts. Every now and then he'd break one off. And I know we talked about this in our last video, but it is important, not like this dude, he's not just a body, and he's not just going to get sent out, and he's not having that. So his attitude's positive. He's always happy, upbeat. But I mean, he does have a dog in him, man. It's not easy to be that size. Dude, he's got that nickname Crash Test Covey, man. Crash Test Covey. Dude's a dog, man. He can take a hit. He's been a dog back there, punt returner. He hasn't returned, he hasn't had like a punt return for a touchdown, but he's broke some off. And when he was counted out, he's been like, we're so desperate for a punt returner. We got this dude who's just getting like you have to hold your breath for every time he takes a punt return. He showed promise. He's around and he's making himself be known as well. So love that. Love that for our receivers right now. Love that for the receiver group. Love that for Brent Covey. Love this for Johnny Wilson. We hope Paris Campbell comes back and that groin injury is not a lingering one, as we know they can be. So again, man, exciting stuff to watch as far as the receiver groups go. And you know Devontae's tearing up anyone who steps in front of him in camp right now. Dude is living up to the name Slim Reaper. AJ Brown, you already know that's a problem. You don't even really got to talk about these guys because you just know, like you know what's over there, right? You know they're dogs. So again, man, I can't wait. I cannot wait for this preseason. Just to watch the receivers alone. But moving on from receivers. So Tyler Steen came back. And at first, just seeing him with pads on, I know me in the morning, I'm excited. I see Steen getting his pads on. First question, right? First question that comes to mind: will he be starting right guard? And well, starting with the first team, I should say, not like going into the season. Apparently, it was Becton. Just spoiler alert: Becton was taking the first team. He was the starting guard in practice today, but that's also because Steen is not participating in team drills right now, and hopefully he will be tomorrow. So we can kind of get a glimpse at who, if he when he's fully healthy and he's ready to be a full participant. Will he be still with that first team offense, or will it be Becton? If you've been watching my videos from the start, I'm high on Becton. I'm high on him being that starting right guard. I still think he's our best option there. And I like Tyler Steen. Don't get me wrong. Especially the times where we did plug him in last season. I thought he did show a lot of promise. He's still a young guy. Wow, that's true. Still a young guy. But at the same time, I just think Becton's, he's more versatile, but I also think he's showing you that he wants that job. Not only that he wants that job, but he might be the right guy for it. Steen, we'll see when he comes back, but I think, in my opinion, Becton is going to be working with that first team offense when he comes back anyways. And then, they'll plug and play Steen. And maybe they get Becton in at other spots. Tackle, like I said, he's versatile, so he can play these other positions on the line. And then maybe they plug in Steen accordingly, but we'll see. Just something worth noting that, Steen came back, but he was not doing team drills. He was just doing one-on-ones, individuals. So we'll see what happens there. As far as the offense, that's really all there is offensively to report on today. I mean, other than the obvious, Hurts is a dog. Hurts is as accurate as he could be this camp, and same thing today. Same with Devontae Smith, just a problem. Anyone who's matching out with him is gonna get that work, guaranteed. And other than that, the offense is that's gonna be our identity. That's the identity of our team. That's who's gonna win us games. Maybe if in any game that if there is a game that the defense wins, it's a defensive battle and the defense can pull it out, then that's icing on the cake. But let's be real, man. The offense is who we need to win us games. Defense needs to make crucial, and this is not taken away from defense and the value of defense. They need to make stops too. They're gonna need to tackle, run, stop the run, right? They're going to need to do these things, but the offense is going to be what wins us games this season. So as far as today, not much else to report on as far as offense goes, but Johnny Wilson, to me, was the story of the day. But let's get to the defense, all right? Because we do have some things I want to report on for the defense, especially, so this is funny, right? So Vic Fangio, if you didn't listen to the press conference today, so Vic Fangio today said while he was with the Dolphins, he was trying to get them to trade for Milton Williams. I guess Howie Roseman was having none of that. So we know Howie, man, like he knows who to value, and if he's gonna get rid of anyone, he's gonna make sure he gets something back. So, especially draft capital, but it's neither here nor there because he didn't even accept the trade anyways. He wasn't about to get rid of Milton Williams, which tells you so much, man. It tells you so much about Milton Williams. Like he's gonna have a year like that, and that's like I feel. Not only do I feel that in my gut, but it just makes sense, right? It just makes sense. We don't got Fletch, BG. It's his last year. He's not gonna get as many reps as he has in the past. So Milton Williams coming in behind Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, he's going to do like he's so consistent. As long as he's been with us, he's been good. It's not like he's like someone you question. You know what you're getting out of Milton Williams, and he's gonna get to the quarterback, and he's versatile too. It's not like he's just a passer. He's gonna stop the run. He gets in the backfield and he can do it quick. So that just kind of goes to show. I mean, based off that press conference, that just goes to show not only what Vic Fangio sees in Milton Williams, but what our organization, i.e. Howie Roseman, sees in Milton Williams. So just something worth noting. Like they think highly of him, like we think highly of him. That's going to be someone. Milton Williams, Marlon Tuipulotu, and Moro Ajomo. They're gonna be worth watching during preseason. Not like they're like just keep an eye on them, man. Like they're gonna wreck these preseason games, and at least that's what I expect from them. Marlon Tuipulotu, Moro Ajomo, and Milt Williams. Just watch them in preseason. All right, watch them in preseason. And you'll see that they're gonna be like a legit problem for opposing offenses. So I just want to get that out there, man. Milton Williams, no joke, all right. Which we already knew, but look, just keep an eye out for him this season, all right. Jordan Davis, though. Jordan Davis it was his day today defensively. At least it felt that way as far as the reports go. He forced a safety, got in the backfield quick, which is just good to hear. Like we don't look at Jordan Davis as this like elite pass rusher. If you're looking at sacks for Jordan Davis, like it's not how we're gonna judge his success. Jordan Davis is here, and Jordan Davis excels at demanding double teams. Not that Jalen Carter doesn't, but that's what's going to make our interior pass rush so good. He's going to demand double teams, particularly on running plays, and he's going to clog lanes. And what that means for those who might not be as aware. So when you got Milton Williams taking on these double teams, that's going to create it's going to create the gaps that the linebackers can get through to stop the run, or if they're blitzing, which we're going to get into soon, just linebackers blitzing. It creates these gaps where it makes it easier for linebackers to read these gaps when the running backs are, whether they're it's a zone, inside zone run, and they're kind of bouncing around a little bit, trying to see which gap to go through. It just makes it easier for the linebackers. So Jordan Davis he's gonna create double teams, or he's gonna demand a double team, I should say, and he's also he's going to clog those gaps. That the running back, your running back's gonna want to hit, one of these guys. He's just so dominant, physically overwhelming to block, where those gaps that would normally be there aren't going to be there. And who's going to eat from that? Linebackers, Jalen Carter, our DNs. Like I said, just like the pass rush in itself. So as far as the pass rush goes, if Jordan Davis is going to be, that physically overwhelming for these offensive lines to have to deal with. In the passing game, maybe let's say they don't double team in the passing game, because let's be real, Jalen Carter is just going to be a problem in itself, especially in the pass rush. So if, let's say an O line, they wanna make that double team go to Jalen Carter's way on passing plays. Jordan Davis is still going to be a problem. Like that still doesn't mean he's not going to get to the quarterback. He's going to speed up the clock for the quarterback. If you leave one man on him, discard, like it's Uno or something, man. He's going to be in the backfield, and he's going to be there quickly. And if let's say their offensive lineman, whoever's blocking him, they can stay in front of him. He's gonna put him in the quarterback's lap. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to sack the quarterback, but it's going to move the quarterback off his spot or speed the clock up for the quarterback, which just gives Josh Sweat an opportunity, Nolan Smith an opportunity, you name it, man. Jalen Carter, who am I forgetting? Bryce Huff. Just any of these guys, man. Like they're gonna have more of an opportunity when your interior pass rush is that good, or just in the run game in itself. Like it allows other guys to eat. So that's where Jordan Davis and like his success right now in practice and in training camp is so important, because if he takes that second step this year along with Jalen Carter, you got nothing to worry about defensively. And that doesn't mean we're gonna have a top defense this year. That just means for years to come, you're gonna have those guys. Like who else would you rather taking the reins when Fletcher's gone? All right, you want that to be a Jalen Carter. You want that to be Jordan Davis. So just exciting to hear, like that he's making his presence known in camp too. And that kind of leads to my next guy, Bryce Huff, who we haven't really heard a lot of in training camp. He hasn't you don't hear about him every practice. But today, especially if he's making good moves he's really had success against Mailata and only Mailata. That doesn't, and we talked about, again, I had a shorter video before, and I talked about this, the Bryce Huff thing. Like, you got to understand, like, Lane Johnson is a problem. It doesn't matter who's going against him. Could be Bryce Huff, could be no one. It doesn't matter. No one's having a good day on Lane Johnson. You're just not going to. In practice, in the game, does not matter. You're not having a good day against Lane Johnson. So, like, let's chill. Let's chill on, like, the Bryce Huff. Like, oh, I don't hear anything about Bryce Huff. I got concerns about Bryce Huff. We haven't heard anything from him. It's like, well, you haven't heard anything about anyone doing anything against Lane Johnson, who he's primarily been up against throughout training camp. Anytime you hear Bryce Huff's names, it's because he made a play on Jordan Mailata. And right here is not, today was no different, right? So I guess he made a good play. He made a good move across the face of Jordan Mailata, and he, like, as long like he's not a power guy, he's a speed rusher, right? So he's going to use speed, athleticism to get around these tackles, and which is another reason why I'm sure Vic Fangio wants to kind of drop him back in coverage. He wants him to take that like he wants to take him, like, really open up his game into, like, dropping back in coverage on certain plays, certain downs, which is, I don't necessarily agree with, but, that's his scheme, that's what works for Vic Fangio. That's what he's going to do. So that's what we're going to, and that's, to me, is another reason why you don't really hear much of Bryce Huff, because I feel like they know he can rush the quarterback. They know that's in his bag. So I feel like a lot of training camp is going to be mostly Vic Fangio trying to get him comfortable with the scheme of, every now and then you might be dropping back into a pass, which is not something he's been used to. Especially in New York, he wasn't like he didn't play every down with the Jets, which is what he's gonna have to do with the Eagles. Yeah, we got Nolan Smith, yeah, we got Josh Sweat, but he's going to have to be a guy who can fit into the scheme if he wants to be successful in the NFL. So that, you know, that is kind of like, if you're gonna have concerns, that's where my concern is, whether or not he's a guy who can drop back in coverage, especially in this scheme. So, you know, we'll see what happens there. But I'm not too worried about Bryce Huff, really, as far as the pass rush goes. You're gonna get that out of him. And that, believe me, when the season starts, you're going to see him get to the quarterback. Like, let's stop worrying about that. He's going up against Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata every practice. What defensive end, rather, I should say, who in the pass rush have you heard about since training camp? It's no coincidence you haven't heard about Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat. You haven't heard about these guys. Why? Because they're going up against some of the best tackles in the NFL. So, you know, like, just next time you think about Bryce Huff and whether or not you should be concerned about him and his pass rush, no, you're not going to hear much about any D end or outside linebacker getting to the quarterback. You're just not going to hear about it because we got good left tackles. All right, it's not it's, to me, that's not rocket science, but I get it. I get the concern. I understand it, but it's like, let's be real here, man. So that's how I feel about Bryce Huff. I don't want to spend that much more time on it. Who I do want to spend time on, though, and it's Nakobe Dean. So I guess today he had a much better practice. And the only reason, like, because I don't want to sound like I'm a Nakobe Dean hater. I'm just out on him. But he had a better practice because they're blitzing him. And he's a guy, like, if you send on the blitz, that's one thing he is good at. One thing he does excel in is, you know, you send him on a blitz, he can get there. He knows the gap to go to, and he does it well. So Dean, he's had a better day today. But that doesn't mean he can cover. Like, it doesn't mean he can cover anyone out of the backfield. He's a problem. He's a problem because you don't. He's gonna end up getting mashed up on a slot, on a tight end. He's gonna get mashed up on a receiver or tight end at some point if he is gonna get game time. Like, he's gonna have to cover some of these guys, man. And it's like, you can't nowadays, at the linebacker position, particularly the off-ball linebacker. You can't really have a solid career as an off-ball linebacker anymore unless you can cover these running backs out of the backfield, unless you can cover a tight end, and unless you can cover a wide receiver 3. And if you can't wide receiver 3 is a stretch. Like, any linebacker matched up with a wide receiver 3 it's a mismatch, let's be real. But if you can't cover a running back out of the backfield and you can't really stay with a tight end on any route, short, medium, long route, maybe whatever, you know, you got safety help. But if you can't cover as an off-ball linebacker in the NFL, you're not gonna have a great season. You're not gonna have a great career. And that's where I'm out on Nakobe Dean. He hasn't shown he can even stay on the field. And for an undersized linebacker, you need to be able to stay healthy. And that's just for every linebacker, but especially, like, he's not the biggest linebacker. So if you can't show that you can't stay healthy, and I get it, it's not always your fault if you get injured, but it's like, if you can't show that you can't be available as a undersized linebacker in the NFL, then what good are you, really? And that's, again, it's not, I'm not, like, judging him as a man in his character. It's just a matter of, you need to be available at this position. Positions that you really need to be available: quarterback, running back, linebacker. These positions, you are a guy that we heavily rely on to be able to withstand contact. You need to be available, right? So I'm out on Dean because he can't stay healthy and he can't cover these you got Kenny Gainwell out there looking like he's Christian McCaffrey, right? That's a problem. Even Vic Fangio said himself today that he took a step back in that public practice. He didn't even have to say that. Keep it a bean. Vic Fangio did not even need to say that. And I get it, like, the media's going to ask questions they want to hear for whatever reason. That's kind of problem with like certain press conferences, like they almost want to hear the coach, hear the players say that there's a problem. We don't need them to say it. We saw it. As Philly fans, we're not oblivious. We're not dumb, man. We were there. We saw him get cooked. We saw him have Kenny Gainwell looking like Brian Westbrook, man. So that's where I'm out on Dean, but I'm glad that he's having better practices, but I think that's because we all know, like, look, he's a guy you sent on a blitz. So maybe on those like in a goal line situation, I guess. Again, we don't really have a good a good sample size either with Nakobe Dean. So the only thing about, I don't know about you, but the only play that I remember Nakobe Dean really being like, wow, that got me excited was I think it was that preseason game where he forced that fumble on the goal line, and he forced a fumble. We got the ball, that was, he made a nice hit on the running back shoulder, right to the forearm or the elbow, popped the ball right out. That's what I remember from Nakobe Dean. The only splash play where I was like, wow, okay. But other than that, man, I haven't seen anything else. Maybe you can fit him in those situations, but let's be real, man. Zach Bond, that's all we hear about, and that leads me to my next guy, Zach Bond, right? So he's blowing up screen, and Zach Bond. So today, he blew up a running back screen. I believe it was to Will Shipley, who's shown promise. So I'll get to that in a different time. But Will Shipley, he showed promise out of the backfield, catching passes out of the backfield. But it's just nice that you're hearing Zach Bond. Not only can he read a screen properly, but he's making a play. He's blowing it up. Zach Bond has shown more balance in his game. He's shown more balance in just the bag he has. He's not just I can stay in front of the running back and on these screens. And just in any type of coverage, but he can also be physical enough to blow up a screen, or he can be physical enough to stop run. Maybe Dean might be better on a blitz. That doesn't necessarily mean he's better as a starting linebacker. Right now I'm picking Zach Bond along probably the rest of us, Zach Bond and Devin White. Even Jeremiah Trotter, honestly, Dean has to fight off Jeremiah Trotter right now. That's more likely his battle. Not to be a starting linebacker, but bro, you better be ready to, you better be ready to stop Jeremiah Trotter from taking your job, man. And what's crazy is Trotter Jr. is not even we don't even expect Trotter Jr. to be a starter. We want him to, because obviously the name. But we don't expect Trotter Jr. to be a starting running back or starting linebacker this season. We'd expect that out of Nakobe Dean, but we don't expect that from Trotter Jr. The fact that we're talking about, all right, Nakobe, you don't lose your job to Trotter Jr., who's a project, to say the least. It's what are we talking about, man? So it's frustrating, and it's just frustrating to talk about Nakobe. It's frustrating to just to where he's at right now. It's frustrating to talk about. It gets me frustrated just to talk about Nakobe Dean. It is what it is, man. Speaking of blowing up screens, though, which Zach Bond apparently can do very well. There was a tight end screen to Goddard today. They set up his tight end screen, which I love in the offense, and we did not see enough of. Why are we not? I get it. Last season's frustrating. There's so many questions of why we didn't do things, but why are we not including Dallas Goedert in on these tight end screen, or any tight end screen? Why are we not running tight end screens to Dallas Goedert? It's just nice to see that they were even running a tight end screen to Dallas Goedert. But to no avail, that screen got blown up. And by who? It got blown up by Jalix Hunt. Finally, we're hearing a flash from Jalix Hunt. It's just it feels like this dude's been not MIA. We haven't heard anything bad about Jalix Hunt. We haven't heard anything flashy with Jalix Hunt either. So to hear that he's blowing up a tight end screen, music to my ears. I don't even like. I'm assuming I'm assuming Jalen Hunt is there to be on that outside linebacker position to rush the quarterback, and he was handpicked by Fangio. This is why he was kind of caught us at like left field. It's like, well, Jalen, who is this guy? Um, so it's just that's where I assume they're gonna have him pass rush, dropping back in the cover. He just kind of fits the Fangio scheme. So it's nice to see that he also has the discipline to not only know a screen is coming. It's tough from you're an edge rusher. It's tough to stay disciplined, not only just for like a wide receiver screen or a running back screen. It's tough to stay disciplined when these tight end screens are popping up. When that's even a thing that when that's even a play that an offense can call. That's tough to stay disciplined for. So to hear him blowing up a tight end screen, that's great news. Great news. That I don't know. I think Jalix Hunt. We're really only gonna get a good sample size when we see these preseason games. For whatever reason, we're just not hearing a lot of them. I mean, for whatever reason, like this kind of goes into my point of like Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson are just that good. They're just that good where you're not hearing anything from any edge rusher. You're not hearing anything from like these defensive ends because our tackles are that good. So yeah, that I guess now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, all right, yeah, that's probably why we haven't heard a lot from Jalix Hunt either until now, and it's a tight end screen. It's not like he's getting a sack on a quarterback or anything like that. It's not like he beat Lane Johnson off the edge. It's just no, he blew up a screen. But that again, that's still good news because that's hard to stay disciplined from that edge rushing position, especially on those type of plays. So good to hear. And I love hearing that from Jalix Hunt because, he's a guy where it's like, who is this guy? Why do we pick him up? So it's good to hear that. He might be kind of, I won't say he's a gem. We don't know. We don't know anything about him. But, like, he's someone that we're going to have to look at to be like, well, let's hope they hit home on this one because I have no idea who this dude is. It's almost like when we drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. I'm like, who? So it's like, yeah, Jalen Reagor had a ton of expectation because he was drafted so early, but we were also kind of patient because of we don't know who this dude is. Is he a gem? Is he better than his, just coming out of, where did he come? Jalen Reagor is SMU or TCU? I can't remember where he came out of. I think he was a TCU guy. Can't remember though. But yeah, just like, is he better than where he came from or did we reach? And obviously we reached, but I don't know why I'm talking about that right now because that is just another thing that's going to get me frustrated. Not that it matters anymore because we got really good wide receivers and we're not in that hole, but still frustrating to think about. But yeah, man. Hey, other than that, great day at camp again. What more can we expect at this point? It's really right now we're just like get us to preseason, match us up with another team so we can see what these dudes can do, man. Because I'm ready, man. I'm ready to see what these guys can do against the Ravens. We got who do we got? We got the Ravens, Patriots, and the Vikings. Random because I don't feel like we never see the Vikings in preseason, but it is what it is. So we got those three squads that we're going to be matched up against. So it'll be exciting to see these preseason games. At least for me, I'm going to be watching every quarter. I gotta know, especially the running back position. I'm still high on Kenny Gainwell, but I want to see if it was just because Dean's that bad or Kenny Gainwell is not playing around. I'm leaning towards Kenny Gainwell's not playing around and Nakobe Dean is just that bad. A little bit of mixture of both, but we'll see. Again. But hey, man, we got all the way till Thursday. Every day we're going to have a practice, so every day I'm going to be putting on a video. Until then, thank you for tuning in like we always do, man. Thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever you got to do. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for starting this journey with me. Those of you, I know it's not a lot of people watching right now, but the 1, 2, 3, 4, whoever is watching these videos, thank you for just sticking with me through this journey that I've just started. So I appreciate it, man. Any supporters appreciate it. I just want to shout out 302 Birds. They gave me some support. They shouted me out on their page, and it costs nothing to show love, but not everyone has to do it either. So I appreciate you, 302 Birds, man. Broad Street Sports, Ryan over there, man, show me some love. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate anyone else, who I didn't mention, who, I talked to on Instagram or whoever, man. Thank you guys. Just support means everything. Any type of advice, I welcome all types of advice. I welcome all types of questions. Hey, Wesley, you're wrong on this. Man, tell me that, man. I'm trying to hear. I'm someone who can admit when they're wrong, man. That's one thing about me that I take pride in. Like, I know when I'm wrong. Someone tells me I'm wrong and they give me good enough points to where I realize I'm wrong. I admit that. So just want to put that out there, man. Show some love back. And I'm just glad that I can be a part. One, it's just being an Eagles fan alone is already exciting. It's just great to be a part of that community, but just to be a part of, this content creating thing. Yeah, I'm grateful that, there are people still showing me love. Just great to be a part of that community. So thank you all. Go Birds. I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you tune in then. Hopefully we get this going. All right. Appreciate you. Have a good one. Wesley out.